Hello everyone, in this particular video we are going to explore the Intuitiv section that is specifically focused on capturing nighttime landscapes featuring stars and the Milky Way. By pressing the menu button located at the top, we scroll down to the Milky Way and Star Trails option. By clicking on it, we will gain access to the section dedicated to this type of photography. What we need to achieve is to systematically follow the sequence of buttons on the interface. The initial segment is dedicated to capturing images of the sky. The central portion is concentrated on star trails using both the soft method and the interval method, and the section with the green title is designated for photographing the terrain. We will capture divided shots in the field, some specifically for the sky with particular shooting parameters, and other images for the darker portion of the landscape, which is the terrain. So, let's proceed to load the lights. The lights refer to the sky shots. We locate them on our computer and select them. You can capture as many lights as you desire in the field. However, I recommend not exceeding 5 shots for those utilizing ultra-wide-angle lenses like 10mm, 8mm for APS-C, or 14mm for full frame. In this instance, I used a 14mm lens, so I will select 4 shots. If you are using standard wide-angle lenses such as a 24mm, you can go up to approximately 10 shots without encountering any issues. Why am I elaborating on this to you? It is due to the fact that ultra-wide-angle lenses, like the 14mm, often exhibit distortions around the edges, and these distortions can subtly stretch the stars. As a result, when the software endeavors to align these stars, it might encounter certain alignment errors. Let's continue by pressing the OK button, which will activate Intuitiv to layer our photographs in an effective manner. Once our images, which are specifically focused on capturing the Milky Way galaxy, are layered, we can proceed to the star selection process to align them accurately, as the stars will gradually shift in the sky with each successive photograph. Our main goal in this merging process is to carefully align the images so they are exactly positioned one on top of the other, thus improving the brightness and reducing the noise within the photograph. Let's move forward by pressing the select option, and you'll notice that it selects the stars. We have the flexibility to press the expand button several times as needed. My suggestion would be to zoom in quite closely on the stars and deselect the initial layers, leaving only the final one active. This specific approach allows you to verify that the selection encompasses the stars from the most recent photograph you uploaded. In this particular situation, I press once more and notice that it is part of the selection. Once this step is fully completed, I can now adjust the selection, and what I will do is press on Refine Selection, then press Subtract because I need to remove, and subsequently I will brush over the regions that I am not interested in having selected. In addition to the underlying terrain, I highly recommend deselecting the region near the photographic horizon, which includes the mountains, as well as the entire perimeter of the photograph and the stars. This is particularly important if you have captured images using ultra-wide-angle lenses, for the same reason I mentioned previously. Upon completing this particular operation, we have the option to press the Align and Merge button. Here is the ultimate result, showcasing our star alignment and cleaning process. We can now proceed to retouch the sky slightly by pressing on Enhance Sky, then navigate to the Tools page. And remember to merge visible layers and press on Auto Color to introduce some clarity. I remind you that all these modifications should be tailored to your personal preference, as there are no strict rules to adhere to. I will add a touch of lightening. Always remember to merge visible layers, utilize the lighten brush, and perhaps a touch of saturation as well. We can also press the Remove 8 pixels button for safety to subtly darken and contrast the photograph. Subsequently, I am able to navigate back to the stars page and meticulously clean everything utilizing the dark shots along with the bias shots. These particular types of photographic shots are captured with the lens cap securely placed on, ensuring they are entirely blackened shots. The dark shots are utilized for the standard noise reduction process, while the bias shots are employed for the reduction of hot pixels. This is primarily due to the sensor experiencing overheating. Generally, you would capture approximately 10 dark shots, although you have the flexibility to choose the number. The shooting parameters are identical to those used for the light shots, meaning they will have the same ISO settings, the same exposure durations, and the same aperture settings. For the bias shots, the shooting parameters will undergo a modification concerning the duration. The aperture and ISO settings will remain consistent with those of the light shots, but the shutter speed will be adjusted to be as rapid as possible. Depending on the specific camera model we possess, it will be approximately 1/4000th of a second or 1/8000th of a second. The quantity of bias shots will be increased, because there will be 5 bias shots for each dark shot we have captured. Therefore, if I have captured 10 dark shots, I will need to capture 50 bias shots. Once I have captured these shots, I simply need to press the dark button, locate where I have stored them on the computer, select the file format they were saved in, select them all, and click Open. In this manner, Intuitiv will seamlessly incorporate them with our photograph, thereby effectively reducing the digital noise that is present. Depending on the specific computer system we possess and the total number of photographs that both Intuitiv and Photoshop are required to load, the process will take a certain amount of time, which can differ from one situation to another. In this particular video, I will accelerate and edit this segment to directly reach the final outcome. Let's move forward by loading the bias files. We simply need to press the designated button, locate them on our computer system, select the file extension and choose all the shots. In my case 50, press Open and the software will commence its operation. Once the bias files are fully loaded, we can proceed to make a few adjustments under the Tools page. We have the opportunity to make use of a lightning brush, which permits us to enhance the brightness at the very core of the Milky Way galaxy. Additionally, we can similarly apply a gentle touch of clarity for an improved effect. Now, let's proceed to merge the visible elements and transition to the photographs intended for the ground. So, let's go ahead and retrieve the photographs specifically dedicated to capturing the landscape beneath. I'll simply need to press the landscape button and select the series of photographs that I've specifically dedicated to the landscape beneath the stars in order to effectively reduce digital noise. I will select them from my computer system. In this particular instance, I've captured 5 photographs. You have the flexibility to choose the number, but typically at least a few are recommended, as the greater the number of photos you capture, the more effectively the noise in the photograph will be diminished. The shooting parameters typically differ somewhat from those used for capturing the stars, which indicates that we will reduce the ISO, close the aperture a bit more to enhance the depth of field, and extend the exposure time slightly to permit considerably more light to enter. Now, I press OK, and we wait for Intuitiv to merge these shots to effectively reduce noise. At this specific moment, we have the ability to gently enhance the photograph within the Tools section by selecting Auto Tone and Auto Levels to moderately brighten the image. Afterward, we navigate back to our Stars page, duplicate the layer, transition to the Milky Way stars image, and paste the layer so that both images are systematically organized on layers with the terrain layer positioned on top. Therefore, I am able to select the terrain in a manner that this particular selection is formed, and by applying a mask to it, I will have the capability to seamlessly merge the celestial sky from my photograph dedicated to the Milky Way with the terrain from the photograph dedicated to the underlying nocturnal landscape. Subsequently, I simply need to click on Merge Layers and complete the process in Camera Raw. All the modifications applied in Camera Raw throughout the development phase are inherently personal in nature. In accordance with my individual preferences, I plan to moderately enhance the exposure levels, increase the contrasts a bit further, and gently reduce the highlights. Nonetheless, what will be crucial is to seamlessly integrate the colors of the sky in a harmonious manner with the colors of the ground. I am going to add a linear gradient mask to the ground area, carefully adjusting it to align with the photographic horizon level. This ensures that any modifications I make now will take effect on the masked section, which is highlighted in red. I will proceed by darkening a portion of the ground, enhancing the contrast, slightly lowering the shadows, and cooling it down a bit more. By pressing the OK button, we navigate back to the Photoshop application. At this juncture, we possess the capability to make minor adjustments to the color casts on the horizon by utilizing the sponge tool, enabling us to effectively eliminate the yellowish and orange color casts that are present on the horizon.